We're going to be doing a review on the Miller Multimatic AC/DC multi-process welder, guys. So my name is Frank with FDM Mobile Welding. I've been in business coming up on 4 years. I've had this thing from the very beginning, and today we're going to be giving a review. I'm not really going to be getting too much into the exacts. I'm not going to be getting into the TIG torch, the MIG gun. I'm just going to tell you guys why you wanted to buy this welder as a mobile welder. Starting a mobile welding business. This thing is true blue, I can tell you. I love Miller. Now, as you can see in the back, I have the Vulcan Omni Pro, and we're going to get into that in another video. But the big thing on why you want this welder, guys, it's a Miller. We're going to be completely honest. This thing is badass. Everything about it. It is an AC/DC welder, guys. That's the first thing we're going to talk about. So this thing does aluminum, it does DC stick welding, all that. It does TIG weld aluminum, so that's the cool thing. The Omni Pro you can spool gun, and if you guys ran spool gun compared to TIG, the TIG's so much better, more controlled, and I'll tell you, this thing TIG welds pretty good for a multi-process. It surprised me. So I come from a structural background, so doing the mobile welding, I was kind of scared. I didn't really know what to do. That was one of the reasons I went with the Miller. 4 years later, knowing what this thing's capable of, I would buy it over again. Compared to the ESOP Rebel, that was another choice I was looking into. It was pretty much the only other choice. The ESOP Rebel, that thing looked pretty badass. But, so I got a little list, don't laugh at me. So the first thing we're gonna talk about, guys, this thing is generator compatible. So it says it on Miller's website. So the Vulcan Omni Pro, that thing will turn on, but it does not run on a generator. It only runs on 220, and that was something I would be crushed if I spent $1,000 and I needed that thing out in the field. Now granted, I bought it to run it on the truck, and I took it out to a job and it did not work. So that was kind of something that freaked me out. Did research into it. Harbor Freight does not talk about it, so be careful, guys. Do your research and make sure that welder can run off of a generator. So besides the aluminum TIG welding, which is a great feature, guys, these multi-processors are 120 volt capable, meaning you can plug it into a simple outlet at somebody's house. That means many things. That means no fuel cost, no loud noises. You save wear and tear on your generator, which everything's a plus. 120 is a phenomenal thing. I use it every chance I can, and worst it does is pop a breaker, which many customers don't care about. When it pops a breaker, you fire the generator. So that is huge, guys. As you'll see on the log list at the end of the video, we have 850 hours logged on this welder, and 220 of those hours, I believe, was from 120 power, and the rest was from the 220 on the generator typically. Guys, that is huge. That means that for 220 hours, I did not need to run my generator, I did not need to pay for fuel, and it was just less setup time, faster in and out. So that's a big thing to keep in mind when you're running a mobile welding business. Another thing we're going to be talking about, just simple, comes with a 3-year Miller warranty, and that's something that made me feel a little bit better. That's why I bought that second welder. God forbid something happens and I need to send this thing out to get it fixed. I was not high and dry, but little do you know, don't run off of a generator, piece of crap. So the reliability of the Miller, the name of Miller is phenomenal. So I've been welding 14 years, and all my previous employers, they all ran Miller. Now, I don't know exactly why they all ran Miller. Maybe just because it's the best, it's tested. I'm not knocking all the other brands, but when the companies I worked at were structural welding, they're running 5-6 minute straight welds. They had all industrial Millers. They're tested in the industrial application, and that's why when it came down to the multi-process, the more DIY and smaller business welding, I figured go with the Miller. Has the best name and most reputable reputation compared to Lincoln and stuff like that. So the duty cycle, guys, the duty cycle compared to most multi-processors, it's phenomenal. I haven't ran into a situation where I pretty much maxed out this welder. There was 1 or 2 times where I had to let it cool down for a second, but I think that was more me going crazy, being behind on a job and just welding, which is something you've rarely run into. 4 years, this thing is just, it never gave me an issue besides my generator running out of gas and shutting off, which definitely didn't help the welder doing a hard shut off, but it was something, you know, you got to be paying attention to that stuff on our mobile welding business. So another thing, there's so many aftermarket parts you can buy for this. There's different stick leads, there's different MIG guns, different TIG torches. So it's pretty cool, pretty versatile. You're not stuck to just going to Miller, stuff like that. So another thing that I did not like about this welder, probably the only thing I did not like, it was $4,200. Yeah, it's a little tough, but you do have capability of welding aluminum TIG, so I mean, you do make the money back, guys. It's an investment in your future, the way you look at it. It's something I knew I needed something that would do aluminum. I couldn't have a welder that did not weld aluminum, especially if you have the capability. And if you don't have the capability, even a better reason, buy it and start practicing. You know, you're starting a business, it's something you do want to know how to do. But yeah, guys, pretty much out of 850 hours, this thing is tested. It did great. I do a majority of stick welding, I would say. I do a good amount of MIG welding when railings come in, stuff like that. But for majority, I'm stick welding out in the field with this, and it runs perfect, guys. It's a Miller. So we're going to get into the duty cycle. I'm going to show you pretty much how all the mods, everything works, the auto settings. That's something huge on this Miller. So the auto setting feature, I'm going to get into that, but that is one of the key features you will look into about this Miller. It pretty much dumbs down the welding. You just put in the material thickness, the rod you're using, or the wire you're using, and it gives you a good range of settings that work pretty well, guys. So. Alright guys, so when you turn your Miller Multimatic on, the first thing you'll notice, it talks about input voltage. So it's pretty much just telling you what the welder's plugged into and pretty much how much juice you're going to be getting volt-wise. The next thing you guys are going to notice, over here to your left, you're going to see your process. So that's pretty much where you're going to select what type of welding you're doing, whether it be stick welding, TIG, MIG, or flux core. So you guys notice to the right, this will be for TIG welding only. It's pretty much your arc settings. So for aluminum or stainless, it'll pretty much just a little bit of tweaking right there. And then up here, guys, what I love about this Miller, and obviously I don't use it all the time, but most of the time, I ain't gonna lie, I do. So this is the auto setting. So this is awesome. As you see, when you shut it off, you can control your dig for stick, control your settings like that. Some guys like to do that. The auto setting, I mean, it makes it too easy, guys. So top left, you'll notice, so that's your rod, and then above is your rod diameter. You can go through cycle, so 6011, 6013, 7018, and then to your right, you'll notice you got your material thickness. So this changes with all the other variations of rods. Another thing I like about this welder, guys, you don't have to change your leads. Once it's in there, it's smart technology. It knows to switch it all over, so you don't have to go from DC negative to DC positive, stuff like that. Another thing, guys, when you switch your process, it tells you right away. For stick welding, at least, it tells you where to put your leads, which is awesome. A lot of guys don't know that stuff, even though you should. And then for the TIG, it tells you the type of gas you should. So guys, the way I'm looking at it is they're pretty much just trying to simplify the welding for the welder and make it a little more friendly for new welders coming in, you know. And then you go into your settings. You can see, I mean, right here we have our hours logged, which you can see right here, guys. Cycles 1,845. 120 volts, so that's pretty much 110 plugging into people's property. We have 220 hours of runtime, and then as far as 220, guys, we have 632 hours. So it's safe to say this welder does know how to weld. I've had it for the past 3.5 years, and I'll tell you, it does not let me down. It's definitely a reliable welder, and most importantly, guys, it welds off a generator. That's my take on the Miller Multimatic 220. Now, I'm not saying you need to get this welder, but the most important things to keep in mind: generator compatible. Make sure the welder is generator compatible. Number 2, make sure it welds aluminum, whether it's spool gun. I prefer TIG welding, and I definitely recommend TIG welding. And number 3, which is probably the most important, guys, you want it reliable. You don't want to pull up to a job an hour away. You do all the fabrication, fire up your generator, you turn your welder on. Your welder doesn't work. It's embarrassing. You could lose a job, and it's just something, as a business owner, you don't want to be cheaping out on your main equipment that you're using daily. So don't get me wrong, guys. Everything looks good on paper. That's why I didn't really get too into the spec sheet, because all the reviews on YouTube, everybody just gets into why the welding guns are different. why this welder looks better on paper. I wanted to show you guys real world welding experience. This Miller welder has never failed me. This Miller welder with the 110 capability allowed me to do jobs center city where I'm in a storage garage, where I'm 400 feet away from my truck. You know, this welder plugs into 110 and you can make money, 120, I'm sorry. So the big take on this thing, make sure you have something reliable, make sure you have something that you can pick up. Them engine driven welders, I'm not knocking them guys, but they're 300 to 400 pounds, take multiple people to move, and God forbid you have some issue with oil, now your welder's out. So if my generator blows up, I can go rent a generator or buy a new generator. The welder is, you know, multi-process is the way to go, guys, especially if you're starting a business. You can always buy another welder and keep this as a backup, but you cannot buy an engine-driven welder and go make sense to buy multi-process. That does not make sense. So be smart, guys, and the best thing you can do is just get a welder and start a business. FDM Mobile Welding, like, subscribe, thank you.